Hello and welcome to even though it's in December, the November press conference for our community, the mayor's press conference. With Thanksgiving and the holidays and scheduling, it got bumped into this week, and so we'll still count it as November because the beginning of the week was November. We have a couple special guests with us today. We have Sheriffa Jones, the Executive Director of the Spencer Chamber of Commerce, give a little update about business happenings in town, and City Manager Dan Gifford, who we've talked a lot about, upcoming into the community, has been here a month already, and so I thought it'd be a good time for Dan to get to know you better, have you get to know Dan better, have him go over some things, and then move forward from there. So we'll cover topics today related to business, related to the new city manager, and then also related to the business of the city that we've been doing as your city council. And so with that, I think what I will do is kick the baton over to Sheriffa Jones.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having me, and obviously also thanks to all of you for tuning in. A few things that I wanted to update you on is we are going to be hosting the Northwest Iowa Chamber Executive Directors here on Wednesday, December 8th. And so it's just an opportunity for us to share information with other directors in the area and a little bit about maybe what they're doing, and also an opportunity for us to just to do some networking amongst us directors. So we're going to be hosting that here in Spencer, which is really exciting. And it's actually been about 2 years since we've last had a regional director meeting because of COVID. Also, this coming week, it's going to be a big week. We are also hosting the U.S. Chamber Midwest office, a breakfast with them on Thursday, December 9th. We are hoping to make more of these, whether they're a breakfast or a lunch and learns, make them possible, if not monthly, quarterly. So stay tuned to those. But for now, Ethan Hellier is going to be joining us, and he works a lot with advocacy efforts, specifically for the Midwest office for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So we're excited to be having that. And I know Dan's going to be joining us, as well as several other community members. Our ambassadors are getting back out there. It's been kind of quiet the last couple of weeks. We've been working on some internal things. So if you've got some news to share or a new staff person that you'd like to get out and share with the community, please contact the chamber and we can get that lined up as well. Also, Business After Hours is coming back. So again, this has been about a 2-year hiatus. We actually had our first one just this week with Wolf Eye Clinic in collaboration with their open house and ribbon cutting. So in December, it's going to be hosted by Community State Bank, and that'll be on December 14th. We are also changing the hours for Business After Hours, trying to be mindful of those that have activities and kids events going on at 5 o'clock or after. So Business After Hours is going to move Business After Hours is now going to be from 4:30 to 6. In the past, it was from 5 to 7. So 4:30 to 6, so we've shortened it a little bit, but also made it so that if you've got a little bit of time that your employer can let you go for about a half hour or whatever might work, that you're able to get in part of Business After Hours before 5 o'clock. So join us at Community State Bank on the 14th for Business After Hours. If your business would like to host, or you'd like to host with other businesses, also please let us know that, and we can make sure and get you signed up. There are a lot of holiday open houses going on right now. Get out and support those businesses, or the banks are always having the holiday open houses. It's a great opportunity to say thank you for the services that those entities and businesses provide to our community. With that in mind, it's also really important, and I know we talk a lot at this time of year, especially about supporting local businesses and organizations. And what I just wanted to remind everyone about is that for every dollar that's spent locally, 67 cents of that dollar stays locally. And for every dollar that stays local, an additional 50 cents of economic development is possible. So this means when you're going downtown or you're going out to the mall to buy those gifts, whether it's Christmas or Mother's Day, that helps to recirculate funds within our community. It pays for, obviously, the employees, but then those employees in turn spend money locally as well. So it's really important that we always turn locally first. And if you can't find something local, make sure and just check with the owner of the business and see if that's something that they can order for you as well. And in collaboration with that, the chamber dollars are a great opportunity. If you're looking for a stocking stuffer or someone that you think probably has everything that they need, give us a call. We can do chamber dollars in any increment, from $5 to $100, $500, whatever you might need. The important thing to keep in mind, and this has been something that's been coming up recently, is that the intent of the chamber dollars is that the money is spent locally. The intent is not that you deposit it into your checking account. Yes, our banks are members, but the intent is that those dollars are spent locally at the businesses that we have as chamber investors. And there's about 380 of them, so there's lots of opportunities. You can purchase gas, groceries, any of those kinds of things, but please do spend those dollars. A few other things to keep in mind: Santa letters, if you have young children, those can be submitted through December 17th. Participating in local events is also a really great way to support the local community. Grand Meander, of course, is coming up. There's also a lot of things going on this weekend, including SCT kicks off their play. Oneota has a winter frolic this evening. On Friday, it starts at 5 o'clock, so head on out for that as well, and it's going to be a beautiful day. Also, the Trails fundraiser is this weekend. That is Saturday, and there are tickets that needed to be purchased for that. So get out, support the local community. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to give the chamber a call, and you can reach us at 262-5680. You can also email me at director@SpencerIowaChamber.org. You can find us on Facebook as well as our website, and we always do love hearing directly from residents and businesses as well. So thank you again for tuning in.
All right. Thank you, Sheriffa. Appreciate all that you do and the chamber does and the board of directors and continuing to keep us a progressive and growing community, and it makes a difference in all of our lives.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, City Manager Dan Gifford.
Well, like the mayor said, I've been here a month, and it's been a really busy month. I've hit, I think, 5 different service clubs now, and I really enjoy those because those are people that volunteer in the community, and so they're really involved, and they really come up with really good questions. Some I can answer, some I can't, but I always find out. But so really getting a feel for the people of the community that way by going to the service clubs meetings. So if you're in a service club that I haven't been to yet, get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to be a program for one of your meetings. I've been finding out that the city of Spencer has a ton of projects going on. I'm trying to get caught up on some of the ones that are ongoing, finishing up, and some of the ones that are just in the planning stages. So between all of that, it's really a lot to get your arms around, but I'm getting there. I've also been out meeting with community leaders such as Sheriffa and some of the economic development groups, and getting a feel for trying to get what their vision for the community coming up is, so I can pair my vision with their vision, and we can really move the community forward at some point with some big wow project at some further down the road. So that's one of the big things I've been doing, and you might think that stuff just happens, like your water just goes to your tap or your toilet just miraculously flushes, but lots of stuff goes on behind the scenes here at City Hall, and tons of procedures to learn. It'd be pretty amazing if you would, you may not want to see the sausage making, but there's a lot of sausage being made. So as far as that goes, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Dan. I know we've appreciated your leadership over the past month and are just as excited today as we were when we offered the position to you, and look forward to a lot of great things in the future. Just wanted to take a couple moments and cover some activities as your city council that we've been working on and that we continue to look forward to work on. The last month has been a busy month, as Dan said. Just a quick recap of how city government functions. When you tune into the city council meeting, that's really the end of the process. That's when we're voting on resolutions, when we're putting in policy. Everything has been polished. Dan alluded to the making of the sausage. By the time it hits the city council, it's ready to put on the grill. We're ready to throw it on the grill and eat. And so what I want to talk about is a little bit of the process that's leading up to that we were working on this month, that you'll see on agendas upcoming either in December, January, or February. On November 10th, we had a committee of the whole meeting here, and we discussed the ward precinct map changes. So real quick, the state had a lot of coverage on that, impacted the state representatives and the state senators where their jurisdictions and districts are. And in the city, what happens is 30 days after the governor has ratified the new lines for the state officials, the local officials have 30 days to then figure out if they need to move anything. And it's based on precinct blocks is what they call it. So these aren't city blocks. These are actually blocks that are counted when they do the, when they count the new census. And so we have to move our lines a little bit. We've had some growth in different areas of town that have impacted the total population. We try to keep it between 10% plus or minus in all the different wards. And so the good news is, even though the lines have been moved, where the elected officials live has not been impacted by a move of a line. So we don't have to have a special election. We don't have to change anything related to that. And so that will just continue on. And if you have any questions about where the new lines are, contact City Hall. They're happy to show you where that is. We had a park, recreation, and culture meeting on that same day, Wednesday, November 10th. Jared led a lot of the discussion, our camp director, or our park and rec director, talking about the aquatic center improvement needs, the campground relocation potential, splash pad potential, and different projects. The purpose of that meeting was to get feedback from the council members who serve on that committee, what direction they would like to take those discussions to move them closer to a yes or no, or I guess a hold pattern in those projects. And those projects, again, as a reminder, came out of the visioning plan for the park master plan process that was completed a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago now, I guess. And so the culmination of that plan leads to these types of discussions. We've had a lot of community involvement and community support, both directly to elected officials and staff, as well as at the meetings, and we appreciate that. We listen to that, and it means a lot. And so if you have opinions on that matter, no matter what they are, we encourage you to reach out and be part of the process. Those conversations will continue to move forward. We had a committee of the whole meeting on Wednesday, November 22nd. We had a couple items on there. One was a general discussion about infringing use agreements on easements and what our policy is there moving forward. We also talked about updating our ordinance related to meat processing and the slaughter of live animals in the city of Spencer. This actually started about 3.5 years ago when we brought in David Toyer to overhaul all of our ordinances, look through them, which ones match how we currently conduct businesses, which ones need updated, and are there any holes that we're missing. And one of the holes he identified was because we live in an agricultural state and we have a lot of like businesses of meat locker processing. So to be clear, this isn't industrial level processing where there's thousands of animals a day going through and being processed. These are really more of your smaller mom and pop meat locker type situations where they custom cut meat and have some for sale retail as well. And we did not have the ability to do that, and the timing was serendipitous, I guess you could say, as there was interest from some businesses about locating to Spencer, and so we pushed forward with that. Started with the Planning and Zoning Commission, which of course is made up of citizens on there. They reviewed, made recommendations up to the council. We listened to that at this committee meeting. We then gave them suggestions back as to what we'd like to see in it, and you'll see the final revision of that moving forward Monday. And the goal is to be able to have the ability for a business who wants to locate here to be clear about where they can locate and what they can do based on the scale and size of the operation related to meat processing and or the slaughter of any animals. And so again, I would just reiterate that we're not talking industrial sized projects here. We're talking if you drove a 80-mile radius of Spencer, you're probably going to find 15 to 20 of these types of family businesses. So we try to continue to be a pro-business community, and we try to address all of the areas needed in that, and this is one of them. I've got some questions on, hey, what's all the dirt moving out on West 4th Street? What are they doing out there? And we've talked about it before, but that's the culmination of the storm sewer going in that feeds the new development out to the west of town. And so Adam DeLoss and his company are out there putting that in, and we've had great weather to be able to hopefully finish that and get that connected, and that will service that area as it continues to grow out there. The Sbdc housing project, had some questions on that over by Moose Pond and the Aquatic Center. So there's been some properties moved as well as demolished, and some land flattened out there. And so, Mayor, what are we doing out there with that? Is that a city project? The city project was addressing, the city portion of the project was addressing substandard housing and taking a place of an area that could be redeveloped and re-beautified and have a positive impact on all of the housing around it. And I think in the next, hopefully in the next building season, if not the next 2 building seasons, you'll see contractors out there putting up structures for people to live in. Not sure exactly what they will be, but the goal as your city is to continue to move those types of projects forward to have spaces to develop. We have received questions previously, and I wanted to update you on the unfortunate fatality that occurred this summer at the Menards intersection. We told you as your city leadership team that we would press forward with requests from the state of Iowa, the Department of Transportation, to study that intersection. The chief of police and public works at that time also advised the state that they would like to see the McDonald's Walmart intersection studied as well. We do have the preliminary results back on that. They have made some suggestions about physical changes in traffic flow. There is continued study that needs to occur related to speed zones and what the speeds in those areas should be once the physical changes are done to how the traffic flow works. Then the next layer is what is the appropriate speed related to the change in traffic flow. And so we will continue to work on that, but I wanted you to know that this summer we made a commitment to you to work with the state of Iowa, and the state of Iowa has made a commitment to work with us, and they have the majority of their work done. We're just waiting for the final aspect of that. And then from our side, what we will do is have staff discussions and then discussions more than likely at a public safety committee meeting to go over the different options and the different changes, and then move forward with any city business that needs to occur out of that. We'll need to do some update of resolution on some things, I believe, related to that, but just wanted you to know that that's where that process is at. Received a phone call from Winter Stave letting me know that the audit has been completed, and so as they do every year, they will present that. Our thought probably in December, and so you'll see the accounting of the city at a council meeting. And if you have any questions on that, please let me know. Budget time, we are hot and heavy into the budget time, so we're going to spend December, January, and February really hammering out the numbers for the next budget, with the state requiring us to have that finalized by the beginning of March. So if you have questions or you have things related to, usually the property tax levy rate is the biggest question that we get asked as elected officials. Reach out to your elected officials, let them know your thoughts. Inflation has hit everyone at the grocery pump. Or at the grocery pump, it feels like the grocery pump, at the fuel pump, at the grocery store, just it's hitting everyone, as well as the city. You know, we conduct business, and so we're very sensitive to that and understand that. And so this year, especially more than any other year, as we move forward in the budgetary process, we will be scrutinizing our spending and how we tax you. Let's see here. There's going to be a finance committee upcoming. Bill's going to lead the charge. Bill Orson is the chair of that, on continuing to look at our capital improvement process and what changes, if any, need to occur in that. Just wanted you to know that we are actively engaged in that. Touch on COVID a little bit. While the federal government, you can't get away from it. It's on your radio, it's on your TV, it's on the internet, it's on every Iowa Department of Public Health post that you see on social media. Here, we're doing pretty good. Our positivity rate is 5%, and to clarify what that is, as we've talked about before, it doesn't mean 5% of the population has COVID. What that means is 5% of 100% of the tests that went in for COVID came back positive. And so we were able to gather for Thanksgiving. If you go about the community, people are socializing. Just encourage you that while there's a lot of outside noise, the health of everyone is managed first by the individual, your individual choices, and then second by the groups and activities you participate in. And so while there is a lot of noise, my advice to you is to continue to live your life. And as I've stated many times before, I do not recommend taking healthcare advice from any elected official. President of the United States, our governor, myself as mayor, we are not doctors. We are not in the medical profession. And listen to your medical care providers. And I just wanted to give you a quick update that while nationally there's a lot of attention to it, we still meet once a week. We communicate to all of our COVID team partners as we have throughout the last 2 years. Seems crazy to say that, 2 years. And we do continue to manage it locally. And if we had grave concern, I would hold a press conference like I did in 2020, and we would update you. But as of now, my advice to you is to continue to live your life. Transition of elected officials is currently happening. So after the election, number one, thank you to all the people who ran for office at whatever position it is, school board, city, hospital trustee. Thank you for having the courage and taking the time to run. I'd like to thank all the voters who turned out. We had a record turnout. It's the highest city election turnout that I think I've seen here in Spencer since I lived here since 1998. I would also like to thank all the poll workers. It takes a lot of people to run an election day, and I'd like to thank the Clay County Auditor's Office. They put a lot of time into it. And this election had a recount involved in one of our positions with Brian Bulk and George Moriarty. And we live in a great community in which, both George and Brian were on board with it. They worked together on it. Both of them wanted the outcome that there was, no doubt who the clear winner was, and the auditor's office did a great job putting all that together. And so I'd like to congratulate the newly elected Mayor Bumgars, who will take office January 1st, and City Councilman Brian Bulk, who will also take office January 1st in an at-large position. So thank you to everyone involved in that. On the heels of that, I'd just like to very quickly touch on what I would personally consider the beauty and the art of local politics. So your city council here in Spencer, Iowa is not partisan. When you see our nameplates in front of us, we don't have an R or a D or an I or any other letter behind our name. You just see our name. And the reason for that is we're here to represent everyone. We have no party planks. We have no party agendas. Our agenda is to serve you in the best manner possible. In this election, I witnessed on both sides, in the Republican Party and the Democrat Party in Clay County, the promotion of candidates and the utilization of their parties to either financially contribute to or provide staff for candidates. There's nothing illegal about this, but for me, serving as a current politician, as mayor and outgoing, it's disappointing. It's the first time that I've ever seen that occur, and I would just encourage those parties to continue to be passionate, to continue to support candidates, but if you do it, please do not do it under the guise of your organization and your party moving forward, because what that does, if one of those candidates gets elected, then there's that carryover up here at the dais of that's part of how the path that they got to office is. And as I've told people before, we are beholden to no party planks. We are beholden to no party lobbyists. We are beholden to no party politics. And that is the beauty of the local aspect of it. We have the relationship directly with the citizen. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, whatever party you want to put on yourself. Once we let that sneak into what we do, then there's different influences that happen. And so I just wanted to bring that up and address it, and I appreciate the passion of everyone involved. But please, it's kind of like in my mind, it's like the Keep the Parks Beautiful campaign. You know, if you see some trash, pick it up. We need to keep our local politics beautiful, and we need to keep it independent. And that is my opinion as your mayor. We will be moving forward in December and January, heavy duty after the budget is done, and kind of simultaneous with that, planning the goals. So if you follow it in the media, in our city council meetings, we usually try to get together in January. We're excited to have Dan here now as city manager. He'll be leading, or at least participating. I guess we haven't decided the format of it. When Amanda was here, Amanda led a lot of those discussions. Sometimes we'll bring in some outside voices for some perspective to facilitate those discussions. The advantage of bringing a third party in to facilitate it is, then somebody like Dan can be a participant in the process and not have to worry about facilitating that. So sometime in the next 30 days or so, we'll figure out how we want to do that from a format standpoint in January, February. But just wanted to let you know that the two big items on our plate's going to be finishing the budget and then goal setting for the next calendar year. And with that, Karen, have we received any questions that we need answered at all? I don't know. Do you see that feed on there? No? Good? Sheriffa, Dan, any closing comments? No?
Nope.
All right. Well, I will just end mine the way I always do. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and God bless.